Did you see? Because there's so many of my homies who got hip to you guys because of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
Yeah, Tony Hawk, and before that,
like Bring the Noise was like, I felt like like anytime you play Tony Hawk, that song's getting fucking played.
Yeah. Tony Hawk's a big.
There was like that and B-Boy Document that all of a sudden like little white kids all over the country didn't know they were becoming like backpack fans because they're like listening to Mos Def and PE and shit, you know. Like,
that's a trip too, and he's a great fan and peer, you know, Tony Hawk and the whole thing. And before that was the Grand Theft Auto thing.
Yeah.
When I think I was a DJ. I don't play video games. I couldn't tell you A from B from anything, but I get the feedback. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a skater because I'm from the 70s. I'm a roller skater.
Right.
So back in the 70s, we danced.
Right.
And you want to get the girls roller skating or dancing on the floor. Dancing is no longer an element in today's music.
It sure isn't. I'll tell you that.
Hey, look, you know friends that get married?
Yeah. There's dancing at weddings still.
But not between the dudes. A lot of times you see the ladies dancing together.
Yeah, I feel like even...
And the dudes is on the wall, you know, getting their drink on. And
for sure. Yeah, dudes don't dance anymore. They're too cool. They do the mean mug.
Back in the day, they was cool too. But my job as a DJ is to yell at them and get them off the wall.
Right.
You know, also LA culture taught us all how to dance too, because you had Soul Train.
Right.
Soul Train taught all of us like get off the wall and get down. And big up to Don Cornelius because that was right here in town. And for years, you wasn't a big black act until you went to Soul Train.
If you had to pick one of your babies, It Takes a Nation or Fear of a Black Planet, which album?
You follow baseball?
Yes, loosely.
That's like Roger Maris's season, and then the next year he hit 54. So it's like, one's an upper deck shot, the other one is like a line drive shot. So those were two home runs that I don't think I could, or better yet, in pitches, one's a fastball, 120 miles an hour, other's a breaker, split finger. Oh my God.
You need them both.
Yeah, you need them both. So crazy enough, my favorite record that I liked over the last, in this century, was what Gary G. Wiz produced called Man Plans, God Laughs.
Okay.
The whole album is 29 minutes.
That's quick.
And the whole goal to do the album was if we could do 8 to 9 cut or 10 cuts under 2 minutes. That's just hard to do, bro. But the way he put his foot into it, to that record, came out in 2015, and we performed quite a bit on it. You know, it was awesome.
You are in one of the greatest groups of all time. If you had to put yourself in the Mount Rushmore, who's on the Mount Rushmore of rap groups with you? There's 3 more spots. If you had to pick 3. Maybe your personal taste.
Of groups?
Of just rap groups,
Yeah. Cypress Hill.
Okay.
Run DMC.
Yep.
Wu-Tang Clan. And I'm not going to count duos because, you get into Outkast.
Yeah, because you get into the duo space, Mobb Deep.
Yeah.
Run the Jewels is a duo.
Yeah, duos. So they're groups, but even
EPMD.
EPMD, right? And you got to put EPMD like at the top of those duos.
Of the duos,
because Eric and Paris are just amazing. But I say like when you got the full dimension, DJ, MCs, other things like Cypress Hill, Wu-Tang, Run DMC, personally Houdini.
Doesn't get they're underappreciated when we talk about that for sure.
Houdini obliterated the 80s in performance and records and crossed over in the areas, So, and to me, I'm a person that's missed groups. I miss groups.
Me too, man.
Dilated Peoples is a group, and it's somebody you travel with. Although it was 2 people, but it was also DJ.
Yeah, so Babu was very instrumental in their live show and the cuts on the records.
That's a group.
Yeah, that's a group.
You know what I'm saying? And not to say EPMD didn't have scratch also. So you get into vague areas like that.
But Babu was like an official. 30. He had his own record on the albums.
I thought that the West Coast held on the groups a little bit more before they went into corporations saying, well, we're only going to sign the solo act.
Yeah, J5 was dope. Jurassic 5
Oh, my God. J5. And I mean, big up to
Hyro.
I do Hyro. Oh my. So I do graphic illustrations. So I've released 7 illustrated books. But so I know people who are artists in the hip hop field. So people like Charlie Tuna, and then
Charlie
also
Tuna. One of the best voices.
Oh my God.
And tones in hip hop history is Charlie Tuna, man.
Yeah.
And then went on to have it. He's in another great group, Oza Motley, which is fucking
exactly right.
Crazy, yeah, crazy. Charlie Tuna slept on, man.
Yeah.
And that dude is huge. I remember I met him as a kid, and I was like,
he's that dude.
He's a tall dude, man.
Yeah, he's a dude.
His voice matches him as his stature.
And my voice doesn't match me. People used to say, "Man, I thought somebody was gonna come in here like 6'5", 300 pounds." It's like, nah. KRS-One, who's the most devastating, greatest of all time rappers, GOAT. Plus and some. It's a dude that, just like, he's the only MC I know that come in a room and change the MC complexion of the room. Because he could come in and he always does this too. Yo, who MC's here? And nobody wants to say that they MC.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I remember when he was doing the Temple of Hip Hop shit when I was a kid and I got to go see him live. Like, it was like watching it was crazy. Yeah. Seeing KRS-One for the first time live was like...
Another one, stamina-wise, which is important, is LL Cool J.
You guys toured together, too.
Quite a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a young guy and as an older person, Then you got NWA, which is a super group before Wu-Tang. Right. Then you got the Roots.
Oh, the Roots. You had the Roots.
Yeah.
And then the Roots, too, like, over time... was more than just Black Thought as an MC. Dice Raw was in the group. Like, the Roots.
Yeah, Malik,
honestly,
Malik.
the Roots is in that conversation, man.
Well,
Fuck, man.
Then the Roots come out of the first hip hop band, Stetsasonic. Then you had Digital Underground.
Yeah.
Tupac comes out of that.
Yeah, Sex Packets.
And then then you got the Roots was the third manifestation out of that. And then you had groups that came up that didn't get the support, like the Goats. Goats were dope.
Yeah, I feel like there was a lot of like 90s rap groups that, like you said, like didn't necessarily that like if you knew type, like even like DITC, like Dave and the Crates.
Yeah.
Like,
because they had a whole sea of MCs that was able to get on Diamond D's work and just. Like people like OC,
OC Times
Giant, man.
Yo, it's crazy. Why do you think the group died in hip hop and R&B? Because I always have this conversation about R&B too. Because it's like. Easier for
companies to to negotiate with one person.
Right.
But see, the problem is also when it came to black acts, destroy the group, take the solo member, and so we're afraid of not only this renegotiation, but renegro negotiation and renegociation.